What's going on, everybody? Welcome on in to the Oregon Football Report. I am your host, Will Ortner, and we have to talk about the latest big-name quarterback that has entered into the transfer portal, or at least declared that he intends to, and that is Nebraska quarterback Dylan Raiola. Now, there was some smoke, there was some fire that he could potentially be entering into the portal, and finally today, 24/7 Zone Chris Hummer let us know that Raiola would, in fact, be entering the portal, something that a lot of us have been kind of wondering about. He is now the third big-name QB that has announced that they intend to enter that portal. DJ Lagway did so earlier on Monday, as well as Sam Leavitt. Everyone kind of seems to think that he's going to be in the portal on January 2nd. Now, the question is where could Dylan Raiola end up? Well, it sounds like sources think he could end up at Oregon. Now, of course, this would have to totally hinge on Dante Moore and if Dante Moore would enter the 2026 NFL draft. It does feel like there's more smoke to the fire that Dante Moore could potentially be on the move and not at Oregon. So, of course, they would have to use a transfer quarterback or one of the quarterbacks already on the roster. Now, this leads me to the question, do you want Dylan Raiola in Eugene in 2026? Yes or no? I think it just depends on what you believe in with the quarterbacks that you already have on your staff and who your number one target is. Is it going to be DJ Lagway? Is it going to be Sam Leavitt? That might be someone that I lean towards. Or would it be Dylan Raiola? Dan Lanning has done a great job of finding the best quarterback in the portal and adding them to his roster. Just look at what the Ducks were able to do with Bo Nix. Look what they were able to do with Dylan Gabriel. And hey, by the way, Dante Moore, he's also a transfer QB. So, do you want Dylan Raiola in Eugene in 2026? Yes or no in the comment section. Okay, this is coming to us from a Max Olsen article on ESPN, but he does cite Pete Thamel, so I'm giving both of them credit for this one. The former 5-star recruit will officially enter the portal when it opens on January 2nd and has 2 more seasons of eligibility. Raiola is seeking a program where he can thrive and best harness his potential while developing for the next steps of his career, sources told Thamel. That leads me into the question of how has Raiola looked at Nebraska? Because I think a lot of people get this perception of him that he's mini Mahomes, but a way worse version of him. He looks the same, he acts the same, he's the biggest copycat that your little brother ever was, but at the same time, he actually hasn't had a horrible career at Nebraska. People just kind of assume he has because he isn't Patrick Mahomes. Well, let's look at those stats. That first year when he was a freshman over at Nebraska, that isn't a bad stat line for a freshman quarterback. Close to 70% completion percentage, close to 3,000 yards. Now, the interception number is way, way too high, and the touchdown number is way too low. But again, it's Nebraska. Think about the good players that they have had there on the skill side of the field. For real, think about it. Name a good Nebraska receiver. You can't. I know you thought about it. Unless you're Bud Elliott, you're not going to know a good Nebraska receiver. Name a good running back that they've had out of there, right? They're fine. They're an average Big Ten team. And those were slightly better than average Big Ten stats. Now look at his 2025 season. That completion percentage jumped way up. Now the yards are down. Well, the yards are down because he got hurt. Touchdowns, way up. Interceptions, way down. Clearly taking steps forward in that Matt Rule system. What I think is important to remember, too, with what's going on with Raiola, is that he was able to do all of this in limited action. He is still recovering right now from a broken fibula that he suffered against USC this season. So he was able to put up better stats, more touchdowns, less interceptions, higher completion percentage, and his yards, he would have passed those yardage numbers pretty quickly within 2 or 3 games, while getting less games in action in the Big Ten, having more of a spotlight on him. Oh, and by the way, his skill players around him still frickin' suck, or at least are not up to par with what you already have over at Oregon. There's no Evan Stewarts at Nebraska. There's no DeCorian Moores. There's no Malik Bensons. There's no Kenyon Siddiqs, right? So if Raiola was able to do that, what would he be able to do over here in Eugene? It's kind of fun to think about. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Help us out. We are slowly but surely growing this. Maybe not so slowly, I guess I should say. We're rapidly growing the channel, and we're going to be live for our first watch party on Saturday. Make sure that you're here so you don't miss out on that. Now, Dylan's father, Dominic Raiola, was the offensive line coach over at Nebraska. He was fired earlier this year by Nebraska. And around the same time frame, Dylan's brother decommitted from Nebraska. So it was pretty clear to most people that Raiola would be on the move and in the portal. Now, a lot of people have been in my comment section saying that they don't want Dante Moore to leave, and I'm included in that. Look at his stat line that he's had so far this year. His completion percentage, actually, ironically enough, is right around the same as Dylan Raiola's. His yardage has been great. He's going to get close to that 3,000-yard mark. His interceptions are gigantically low. His touchdowns are gigantically high. And Dante Moore has really put this Oregon Ducks team in a position where I don't think it's that crazy for any of us to say that they are a dark horse for this national title run. I don't know if you saw this, by the way. Evan Stewart, DeCorian Moore, and Gary Bryant Jr. were all out at practice. So we're going to get all of our weapons back, and we're going to have maybe the best QB going into this draft. I don't care what Fernando Mendoza says. Yeah, this Oregon team might go on a run. And if they go on a run, that might lead to Dante Moore not wanting to come back to Oregon. If he were to move on, would you want the Ducks to go for a transfer portal quarterback? It's clear in the Dan Lanning era that has been successful. Think about it. Bo Nix was a transfer, Dylan Gabriel was a transfer, and Dante Moore was a transfer. Now, they all have different criteria around them. Bo and Dylan came in and immediately started. Dante sat for a little bit. But do the Ducks need a transfer portal QB? Let me know down below in the comment section. All right, here is my take on it. I do think Dante Moore goes into the NFL draft. You're hearing a lot of smoke around it. I understand that there's a lot of people, and they're in my comment section, they're in my DMs, and they're telling me, hey, Dante Moore isn't ready. He needs to be in Oregon for one more year. I don't necessarily disagree with you. But when Mel Kiper puts you as the number one player on his big board, how do you come back to school? When you look at every NFL mock draft that's going right now, Dante Moore is a top 5 pick in every single one of them. Every single one. And we haven't even seen him get out and run the 40 or do any of the other combine type of workouts or meeting with the other teams. I think Dante Moore is a very smart kid. I think he's a bright kid, and I think he's incredibly athletic. I think he might shoot up draft boards. There's a lot of people that say, well, he should come back so he can be the number one pick next year. Look at what happened to Drew Aller. Look what happened to Garrett Nussmeier. That's what they tried to do. And now they're what? Maybe day 3 guys? When you look at Dante Moore, shoot, if he does well and tests well, maybe he even beats out Mendoza. The guy gives weird interviews. So maybe Dante Moore could still be a number 1 guy this year. I just don't see how he can turn down the NFL if he gets a pretty good review from scouts and he's being looked at as a top 5 guy. So that does mean Oregon at least has to evaluate the position. Here are the 3 quarterbacks on your roster right now, our roster, that we have seen get action this season. Brock Thomas has gotten some action, Luke Moga's gotten action, and Austin Novosad have all gotten action. Now, what I think is important is Austin Novosad and Dante Moore are the same age. Remember, Dante Moore decommitted to go to UCLA instead of Oregon. Oregon then came in and grabbed up Austin Novosad. So it would feel like he could potentially have a leg up slightly, being in the system the longest, but who even knows? And these are just the quarterbacks on the roster that have gotten time this year. So someone like Akili Smith Jr., who isn't on this list, well, maybe he has a good spring. Maybe he has a good summer. Maybe he turns into the starter. So you have a bunch of different options that are already on their roster. I do see why the Ducks would have interest in Raiola. Frankly, I see why the Ducks would have interest in any of those top 3 QBs. You've clearly shown that you can bring in transfer portal quarterbacks. By the way, all 3 of them, or I guess I should say 2 of them, had different coordinators. Dillingham was with Bo Nix, and then Stein was with Nix. Stein was with Gabriel, and Stein was lastly with, of course, Dante Moore. He's going to move on to Kentucky, so who will step in And will the OC be able to connect well with whoever the Ducks bring in at that spot? Could Raiola be the guy who steps in and becomes QB1 at Oregon? I don't know. I don't know that he's the best fit for Eugene. In fact, I think that there might be a player that's kind of from the area that would already fit in pretty well. But Dylan Raiola is definitely someone that you have to take a look at. So right now, I want to ask you, who do you want? We're all Oregon Duck fans here. Do we want Sam Leavitt to be the transfer portal QB that you add? Do you want it to be DJ Lagway? Do you want it to be Dylan Raiola? Let us know down below in the comments. If it's Sam Leavitt, type SL. If it's DJ Lagway, type DJ. If it's Dylan Raiola, type DR. Let me know who you want down below in the comment section. For what it's worth, I'd be typing SL if that gives you any indication on which way I lean. Remember, if you love the Ducks, come on in and subscribe to the channel and like the video. Smash that thumbs up button. It helps us get more Duck fans to see our content, and it gets more Duck fans to come in and join our family here on the Oregon Football Report. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys next time.